Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today on this webinar. We're really proud and excited to be representing the AeroScope drone detection system from DJI in the UK. This webinar is aimed at giving you a brief introduction to the product and technology, and at the end giving yourself a chance to ask a few questions, and afterwards we can take it we can take more detailed questions offline. So I'm Steve Coulson. I'm one of the owners and the managing director of Coptrz in the UK, and I'm going to take you through this presentation. So in general, the exponential rise in both consumer drones and commercial drones in the UK and across the world is huge. I think the US were talking about 20 million drones by 2020, but this has resulted in that that sensitive facilities are under threat on a daily basis now from drones, sometimes from and mainly from maybe uninformed use, to give it to be as politically correct as I can be, but also for nefarious purposes for individuals that cause a serious risk to safety. Homeland Security actually released a report in 2017 warning of the actual imminent threat of armed drones, both to the public, to defense establishments, and also airlines and airports. So the AeroScope system, it gives a mechanism in law and aviation safety by discriminating between friendly drones and potential foes. So what does the system do? Well, it identifies which model of DJI drone it is, and if there's a registration scheme which appears to be coming in the UK and has been in place in the US, it'll actually give the serial number of that drone. As far as the monitoring side, it will give the actual GPS coordinates taken from the drone's flight information, and what's its vector, what's its course and speed, and also, very importantly, its altitude, based on the upcoming UK laws, where they're wanting to double check that drones are flying at below the 400 feet ceiling. The system can also then geofence a particular area that you are wanting to monitor, protect, and alarm if a drone is on a vector that is going to penetrate that area, or it's actually penetrated that area, which as the system is developed, there'll be escalating alarms that can do different things, from just an audio visual alarm, but also sending texts, emails, and alerts to different computer systems and different people. So just moving on. So what does the AeroScope actually do? Well, it identifies the DJI drones within its range by actually detecting the light bridge and OcuSync signals between the drone and the controller. And you can see here they've got the controller, the drone, and the ground receiver of the AeroScope is actually picking up that same signal. So what information does it give? Well, it gives the drone's ID, serial number, gives its direction, it gives the home position, the position that it actually took off from. Again, as I said before, the make and model, which obviously it's going to be DJI, but whichever model it is, with absolute certainty as well. There are many drone detection systems out there that claim to be able to differentiate, but this absolutely does. Again, it's at the altitude of the drone, which I've already explained why it's so important, and its absolute GPS position. So as part of the software, you can identify if you're flying your own drones, if it was an establishment where drone operations were going on to assist your operation or even defend the area, then it will be able to differentiate and point out what is your own drones and what is an imposter. Just there's a lot of information here on this screen, but basically this is based on the FAA registration scheme in the US, and it acts as a pretty good measure for what will be going on in Europe and the UK. About 79% of all drones that were registered in the US were DJI drones. But actually, when you start looking at specific threats, now that percent market share increases. The study on danger to airliners stipulated that a 2 kilogram drone was the level that will cause significant damage to an aircraft. Now, when you start looking at the maximum takeoff weights of all the drones on the far left-hand column, it rules out an awful lot of them. And then so when you come in to look at airport security, whilst yes, you don't want any drones in there, you want to look at what's going to be the biggest threat. And that then, I don't know whether you can see my my cursor, but in the middle then you've got the actual airport safety threat. 95%, DJI represents 95% of those drones. And as you move across, you can see if something was carrying a payload, it would, so I'm just going to move something here so I can see the rest of my screen. My able assistant is doing that. So payload threat, again, 91% of all drones that would have a payload threat, which could carry any sort of significant payload to deliver, be it explosives, nerve agents, or something similar, something else nasty, then it's 91% is DJI drones. And also the video range threat. There are a lot of these drones on the left-hand side, or at least some of those drones on the left-hand side, they don't have a big enough range to infiltrate some of the more sensitive establishments. So hopefully that made sense. So when you're looking at this is simplifying things here. Overall, which drones on the left-hand side of the screen, which make of drones on the left-hand side of the screen are a real threat based on those FAA registration scheme numbers? You're talking about on average about 90%, and it's obviously a sharp drop then there forward. And I would actually suggest in the UK that figure may well be higher. Because I think some of the other ones that are seen as a threat maybe don't have the market penetration that they do have in the US. So hardware, what do you get? Well, it comes in two formats. It comes in a fixed system format that is installed permanently on a site by a Coptrz engineer working with DJI. We would come to a site, we would survey the site, make sure what the best position of the antennas is, where the antenna should go to give full coverage. Then that fixed system will be installed on the site to give 24/7 coverage. The equipment is IP65, the fixed system is, but you also have a portable device, and we have these now in our offices that we are currently demonstrating to selected clients. and this comes in a nice pelly case that's very, very robust. It's actually much smaller than I expected it to be, but it's a really high quality. As far as the fixed system, it's lightning protected. It can work in extreme temperature and humidity. Just as an example, -20 to +50 degrees C is going to cover most scenarios, especially where we are in the world. That's where it's been tested to, but that's not to say it won't operate outside of those parameters. It's flexible in the fact that it can work on the DJI cloud server. That those servers are situated in the USA. Obviously, there's been questions regarding safety of data, and if that is not seen as sufficient, then it can be configured to the local LAN, and we at Coptrz are trained and able to configure, install the system and configure it to the organization's own network. When it comes to the fixed system, it's a turnkey solution. So it's from survey to install to annual maintenance plans, if that's what the company, the customer needs. But it's a one-stop shop. It's a full solution. So just some ideas of installations here. The top right is actually Shenzhen International Airport, where the system has been operating for a number of months now, and is picking up drones all the time. When our engineers were out there, they were picking up drones at a huge distance from this system. You can also see down bottom middle, there's the smaller antenna, which we will probably use in most occasions, because we feel that this smaller antenna will give the right level of coverage in nearly all cases. But this is on a ship, so shipping also has fears from drone incursion. That could be giving you a scenario, a fleet of super yachts where the paparazzi are using Phantom 4s or the like to actually try and get that winning shot, or you talk more high risk, where you've got liquefied natural gas carriers, or in fact military warships, where they don't want any third-party drones coming anywhere near them. The installation is fairly straightforward, but it's to be only done by a certified engineer that's been certified by DJI, and that's what we have invested in and had done at Coptrz. So just an overview of the portable system. As I said, it comes in this ruggedized case. You have two antennas that you can see in number 13 stores nicely below the screen, and it's literally they're just screwed in place. We're using a DJI Crystal Sky monitor that's integral to the unit and flush mounted. We've got, if you look at number 5 on the left hand side of the screen, there's a power port, so it can take 110, 230 volts, 50 to 60 hertz, basically your mains power. At the same time, that's not always going to be available. The idea of this is quite often potentially in the back of a police car or a security car that needs to be rapidly deployed on site in where there's no mains cable. So there's two. Number 9 shows you that there's two batteries, two TB50 batteries fitted in there, and that will give 2 hours of operation. So you know, you could take that and have 2, 4, 6 spares ready to give a full day's coverage in any location, really. We've got the power indication. We've got a USB port for downloading information. This may be for in the case of a prosecution that we need the evidence, because it's data logging the movements on the screen, and that can be used for evidential purposes. Just some comparisons of portable against fixed systems. The portable unit can be deployed in less than 5 minutes from a vehicle or carried by hand, and really it is incredibly small. On anybody could carry it to any location, really. The installation time on a fixed system really does vary about how many antennas would be needed, what the LAN requirements are. You know, if it's just really straightforward into the cloud and one antenna, yeah, 1 to 2 days, but that could be more just based on the complexity of the installation. But we would pre-survey the location and come to an agreement with the customer about how this was installed and what LAN configurations were needed. So the good thing with a fixed system, it's modular. You can build and build and build, and you could even, as part of a portal that you get with the fixed systems, you could monitor various sites over countrywide if you wanted to. If you had 20 locations countrywide, you would be able to monitor it on one portal and see what was going on, or as an overall umbrella picture, but also drilling into the information as well to look at certain sites. Usage restriction on the portable, yes, restricted by batteries, but you can make sure that you've got enough batteries and spares for any location, really. And the good thing about the fixed system, it gives that all-weather unattended service 24/7, which can also you can kind of install it and leave it, and it'll tell you when there's a problem. It tells you when you need to give it some attention, i.e. there's a drone that shouldn't be where it is. So typical scenarios for a portable unit: an unplanned event. That could be a police incident, it could be an accident, it could be some difficult scenario where you don't want other people looking at. And then you go on to planned event or show. Well, we think immediately planned event: big football matches, big rugby matches, or shows that go on, festival shows. This is ideal for just getting it out there and getting an immediate synopsis of the situation. And we foresee that there's likely to be some festivals or events where they want a one-off service, and we can give that if that's what's required. You know, if there's a state of emergency, if there's a big flood or fire or whatever, this often they want their own drones and their own helicopters in the airspace, and they don't want, you know, let's say, just curious people looking at what's going on and getting in the way. So this is where the portable unit come in. You go into the fixed systems. Airports is obviously makes sense totally on an airport route, potentially if there a scenario is seen where this on the flight path they may have had problems in the past, and they want to continually monitor it. Well, that will be ideal for this. Prisons, you know, it's well documented in the news that the contraband being taken into prisons, and I know that the Ministry of Justice is looking very closely at this, and are also about to imminently bring out a tender. Military restricted areas, I think that's self-explanatory, and government security areas, but also large plants or ports. You know, there are lots of high risk installations where you may have storage tanks of liquefied natural gas or oil, refineries, chemicals, very dangerous chemicals on plants or in port areas. You don't want unrestricted or let's say unwanted drone activity there, because you're playing with big stakes. And also, you know, industrial espionage can't be ruled out, where people are trying to spy on what other people are doing, and with the quality of cameras that there is nowadays and will continue to increase, companies are going to want to protect against that. And as I'd said previously, the ships for differing reasons are also looking very closely at how to protect against unwanted drone activity. So just showing you the software interface. It's real-time monitoring. It has these escalating alarm stages, but it also has historical data, flight data, playback for evidence. It's going to improve site security. It's going to increase the deterrent level as well, when people put up on their sites to say that this area has employed a drone tracking, a drone monitoring system, and you know, people who flout that will be prosecuted. So as I said before, we can configure the network to fit the requirements of the customer. So you can put it in the cloud or your own LAN. It gives that flexibility and peace of mind. It's a modular system that we can just fit to any size of site or multiple sites. Remote OAM monitoring gives that constant diagnosis of any faults that there may be. Means that we and or the customer can see what's going on and minimize downtime. It's preventative maintenance in effect. So, and as I said before, we do a full configuration service as part of the turnkey installation solution. So there's different ways to own the equipment. It can be done via operating lease, so the capital expenditure is avoided. In essence, you're renting the equipment for a period of 3 years. It future-proofs it, because after 3 years, the latest version of AeroScope, or whatever that is called, can just be put in its place, and you just carry on. We can support it and would via an annual maintenance plan, and that's very much on the choice of the customer. We would advocate that it's good practice to have an annual maintenance plan, and that is available. So obviously, future DJI models that come out, it's going to pick those up as well. Whether that's still using the same protocol, if it's new protocol, they'll make sure that the updates on the system, which is really easy to update when connected to the internet, can detect those as well. And what everybody's seen is the market share trajectory of DJI drones is going in one direction only. So that 90%, in 2 years' time might be 95%, in 3 years' time might be 99%. So it's going to keep detecting more and more. And if the powers at be see fit that they impose a specific protocol on drones operating in their country, their airspace, then that means that it's more than likely that they're going to pick a protocol that's most commonly in use. So watch this space on that one. So this is just this is actually a screenshot from one of our portable units in the office. So based on the height of the drone and the height of the height of the antenna, because this is not an RF detection system, it can work at very low signal to noise ratios. It's been picking up drones at 40 kilometers plus. We had a demonstration of it from a rooftop in Shenzhen that was picking up a drone at a significantly larger distance. So it's detecting those the OcuSync or Lightbridge signal. What it does, it plots and records the controller's location, GPS position. As you can see here, this is in central Leeds. This luckily didn't really happen, but this is just giving you an example. We've got a controller who's walking down the train tracks. So if he's not, if it was the police, they can see, right, okay, we've got a drone problem here. It's just about to fly over Aviva towards Bow Lane, and we can go and apprehend the controller who's walking down the train tracks if he's not run over by a train before that. So that uniquely provides that evidence. So this is all recorded, but also it's okay getting the drone, but what about the person who's controlling it? So uniquely, this gives both, and it gives their GPS position. So I don't know how well you can see this, but I'll just so the top left screen is in essence what I've just shown you, and that it gives on the top right, it gives you data on what's been going on there. I'll just have to put my glasses on to read it. So you've got the serial number, you've got the altitude, the lat and long, the distance, aircraft type, it's a Phantom 4 Advanced. It's actually at a height of 51 feet. And there you go, the bottom left, you've got pilot's latitude and longitude. And you'll be able to see what track they're taking as well, the vector of the person in essence. So you know he's walking in a westerly direction on the train tracks, so it gives the authorities a chance to apprehend them. If you look again top left, looking at that, you've got settings on the top. That basically you just change your map options, your offline map options, just so you can set the system up to suit yourself. And then bottom left, it just gives you all the activity of drones that have been spotted. So you've got an M200 that's been tracked, and as you can see, there's a playback function, but all that is evidence that can be downloaded if need be in the case of criminal prosecution. And again, the one below it is the Phantom 4 Advanced that has playback. Just a little bit about Coptrz. We're passionate about the commercial drone sector. We're passionate about working with large corporates to advance their drone strategy, but also to advance the drone detection, because it comes hand in hand with the safe use of drones in the sector, and I think those in balance are going to help help this sector, this industry grow. So we're very proud that we provide what we consider the best in world commercial drones and payloads, the software and ancillaries, and we give end-to-end training. We're an NQE, we're providing PIFCO, but that should only be the start of it, and we're passionate about CPD, continuous personal development. This industry needs to go on a path of best practice, and so we are trained as well if not better than other industries, because there are obviously risks involved in this industry, and we need to show that everybody operating is operating to the highest possible standards. We're a certified DJI repair center, and because of the skills we have, we do extend warranties on most drones. And as I said previously, operating leases give people the freedom from capex, but also the flexibility to use the latest drones and keep ahead of technology. Thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed listening, and I'm ready to take some questions. Yeah, if you could, if you see the screen, if you could put the questions in the box that's entitled questions, and I'll try and answer what I can do now. Okay, thank you. A question from Craig regarding AeroScope detecting other manufactured drones. There is no plans for that at the moment. The way that AeroScope works to demodulate the DJI protocol, they're concentrating on basically what's the #1 model of drones. Now, their market share is going to increase. Don't know what's going to happen in future. There could be that could be on the horizon, has been talked about, but at the moment that there's no specific plans for that. Question from Victor regarding the alerting interfaces. This is it's not a standard at the moment, and the escalate and alarm interfaces is due out soon. So I will update everybody in our community as soon as we have the details on the specific SMS escalating alarms. I got a question on from Derek Robinson regarding costs. This would need to come offline, and if you put in a proper inquiry, we'll be able to give you the costs that are applicable. Regarding, is there going to be a live demonstration from Roger? Yes, there is going to be a live demonstration, and it's going to be on the 12th of April. And I'm going to ask my colleague exactly where it's going to be. It's going to be a place called Burntwood Court, which is just off the A1 in South Yorkshire. It's a flying centre we've got. We can get lots of different drones up there. So we'll get that out to everybody, and an invitation. So bear with me, I'm just reading the questions. Okay, yeah, good question from Alvin regarding matching the DJI serial numbers to the servers. There is a procedure That will obviously, it depends. I don't know, Alvin, what organisation you're from, but it there is a procedure for law enforcement, etc., to give those serial numbers. If you're in the UK, obviously, when with the serial number, the registration scheme, that's potentially going to be quicker. But if we take that offline, it's a confidential procedure for any law enforcement people. So we can take you through that. Just reading the next one. Yeah, great questions here. Victor, is there any likelihood that the AeroScope system will need to be licensed, e.g. prevent criminals from purchasing the unit? We have to strictly vet and then submit to DGI who we intend to sell each system to, and it is you know, we can't sell to individuals. The primary market is police forces, Ministry of Justice, government bodies, and very large corporate entities who would need to use it for the public safety and security. So it's not a licensing scheme, but there is a very strict policy on how this is used, and you make a good point that yeah, we don't want to be getting this into criminals' hands. Will there eventually be one demo day down south at Hook? Yes, I'm absolutely certain there will be, and don't know what day it is yet, but we will be doing one. I'm certain, but we'll keep you informed on that one. I think I've answered all the questions so far. We'll wait a couple more minutes to see if there's any more, but what I would say is thank you very much for listening, and please you could come if you can come to the demo day, fine, but also you know, get in touch with our organization. We'll be really pleased. I'll be really pleased to come and meet your organization and you know, discuss your requirements, and also do a demonstration using our portable unit, even if you need even if you in essence need a fixed system. The last question that's coming from Roger: is there a resale model? We are not allowed to resell by order of DGI. We're not allowed to resell at all. So we are with the UK's only AeroScope partner, and yeah, it's under strict instructions. We can't resell. It's to keep control of the equipment, as per one of the previous questions. How much range does a portable unit have? Thanks for that one, Alvin. Approximately 5 kilometers. It so much depends on, obviously, as you know, conditions at the time, but approximately 5 kilometers, which is going to give you a really good early indication anyway. Well, on that note, guys, I'm going to say thank you very much. It's quite weird talking to myself and not having people actually talking back to me, but I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to the next update. There'll be some more specific information, but please get in touch with us off this webinar, and let's just have a look. Just got a last one. Okay, so Panagiotis, is it on moving assets? Yes, it is. Yes, the portable unit can be used on a moving asset like a vehicle or a boat or a ship. So yeah, please get in touch on that one. Yeah, thank you everybody. Have a great day. Speak to you soon.